So let's start at the beginning with the abstract. Have a look at Hendrik's paper. Good abstracts are difficult to write, but thankfully this paper has a very good one. A good abstract will do two things. It will identify a current problem or question in research and tell us how this paper addresses that problem or answers that question. A scientific article isn't a detective novel. It isn't a Sherlock Holmes tale or an Agatha Christie whodunit. It doesn't save the main finding until the end of the paper. Rather, it tells us what it's going to find right from the start in the abstract. It's not trying to hide anything from us. A good abstract should say, here's the problem and here's what I find. As a reader, one of the purposes of an abstract is for you to be able to say, do I need to read this paper? Because you can't read everything. When you're searching through a lot of different articles, you need a quick way of finding out if an article is going to be important to your research. An abstract is a good way of finding out. But don't expect to understand every word in an abstract. Abstracts are usually between 200 and 300 words, so what you're getting is the highly concentrated version of the article. Don't worry too much about understanding every word at this stage. Alright, let's actually look at the abstract. Demographic and environmental factors have claimed a dominant position in the post-Cold War security discourse. Okay, so right away we know we are dealing with two important issues. Demography, the study of populations, and environmental factors, how humans interact with their surroundings and the effect they have on each other. It continues. According to the Neo-Malthusian conflict scenario, population pressure on natural renewable resources makes societies more prone to low-intensity civil war. Now, at this stage, you might not know what the Neo-Malthusian conflict scenario is, but we can perhaps figure it out. We know that we're looking at conflict, people fighting with each other, and we know that we're looking at civil wars. We're also looking at population pressure and natural resources. There must be some expectation that resources and population pressure are somehow linked with civil war. So let's rephrase that. Hendrik said, population pressure on natural renewable resources makes societies more prone to low-intensity civil war. Put another way, lots of people plus not many resources leads to small wars. Hendrik continues, on the contrary, resource optimists concede that agricultural land scarcity caused by high population density may be a driving factor behind economic development, thus causing peace in the long-term perspective. Right, we've got an opposite view. Instead of saying that resources and population are linked with civil war, there's an opposing group of people who think resources and population density are linked with peace. Put simply, lots of people plus not many resources leads to economic development, which leads to peace. So some people think lots of people plus not many resources leads to small wars, while some other people think that lots of people plus not many resources leads to peace. Well, that's a difficult circle to square. You probably can't have both. In the past, academics would leave it there. They'd say, well, these are the two views and who knows which is right. But this is a scientific paper. We can do better than that. We can see which is right, or just maybe find that they're both wrong. Hendrik continues, these notions are tested in a quantitative cross-national time series study covering the 1950 to 2000 period. Well, let's break that one down. First, these notions are tested. Good. Hendrik's described the two different views and now he's going to test it. But how? Well, the next word, quantitative. We're dealing with numbers. After that, cross-national. We're looking at multiple countries. This is good. We don't know how many countries yet, he'll tell us later, but if it's enough and from a broad enough pool, then hopefully the findings in the paper will be what we call generalizable. We can take findings from one part of the world and apply them to another. Next, it's a time series. We'll look at all of those countries repeatedly over the course of a number of years, and as we see, it's looking at a total of 51 years, all the years from 1950 to 2000. So, the abstract continues. The results do not provide strong support for either perspective. Well, damn! Let's look again at the two perspectives. One was that lots of people plus not many resources leads to small wars. The other was that lots of people plus not many resources leads to peace. This paper finds that neither is the case, or more precisely, it doesn't find support for either argument. Perhaps things might change in the future, we don't know. But based on the evidence studied in this paper looking from 1950 to 2000, neither view is supported. So while some people might have expected that population pressure would lead to civil conflict, this paper finds that countries experiencing high rates of population growth, high rates of urbanization, or large refugee populations do not face greater risks of armed conflict. Now, just look how much information we've found by reading half an abstract. 113 words that tells us so much. And that's before we've even got to the introduction, which we'll look at in the next video.